Welcome. So, it's a fantastic start of the year. So, I see a lot of really movement in a self-sovereign identity space. So, it was just a spec about OIDC compliant extensions for the issuance and the verifiable presentations. After that, the European Council take the initiative and move forward the European UD, so the universal wallet, based on the same specifications, by the way. And right now, what I want to talk about today is the trust over IP. So it's the organization that actually define a lot of things in a space of trust. They released the architecture, so today we will talk about the trust over IP architecture review, and most important part of it is the trust spanning protocol. So we all know that when internet was built, so we missed two pieces, and these pieces still trying to add to the current web. So it's the security and the storage. Yeah. So if you're talking about the security, when you connect over IP, you doesn't know who is behind the address, and actually trust over IP really try to solve this problem. So this is not a new problem. We already talk a lot, so you could take a look to my video about the self-sovereign internet. So that trust over IP, they release the architecture, how they see the architecture of the next trust internet, and actually is the hourglass, same as the hourglass for the internet. It's a set of abstractions that divided by layers, and these layers have their own protocols. Yeah, exactly, the protocols. If you want, you could take a look to my video about the protocols versus apps and why we need the protocols too, is available on this channel. So the layer one, let's say, is the trust supporting protocols. So trust supporting is the access to the keys, transport, key management, secure storage, secure computation systems. So it's the really low level things that help us to create the trust. So the second layer is this the part of the hourglass that will connect actually the trust supporting with the high level protocols, and everybody should understand it, everybody should use it, and everybody should use this concept. So it's the trust spanning protocol, and guys released the 30 requirements. I would say that more than 10 requirements from the trust spanning protocol is focused on the identifiers, and it's stated there that it should be the decentralized identifier, and it's more even precise, the atomic decentralized identifier. Right now only the carry protocol and carry DAD satisfy this need. So when we're talking about the autonomous identifier, it means that you don't need a blockchain or you don't need any third-party system. So you drive it from your personal private key, your personal entropy, and you don't need anybody to make this identifier resolvable and happens. So the next piece of the trust spanning protocol is the messaging. So it's based on messaging, and messaging should satisfy three key criteria. So it is authenticity, authenticity, privacy, and I forget the third one. So, but I need to review the paper. But all this is quite close to what nowadays the Gitcom is doing. So actually we don't have a reference implementation, we have just these requirements and the high level idea, how the layers are organized. And right now the trust spanning protocol, we have three big candidates that partially have this spanning protocol, so the layer 2. So it's the Gitcom, but Gitcom have a bit more than we want to have, and from other side Gitcom doesn't have the key delegation and key management capabilities, but it's quite close. So Gitcom, it's the mixture of the layer 3 and layer 2, so but it's a good candidate. So if we combine Gitcom, for example, with Kerry, and Kerry it's yet another candidate for the trust spanning protocol, but with Kerry we need to understand that you have the Kerry as a key event management and delegation and all of the things, but we have the ecosystem around the Kerry. So it's together with the authenticity chained data containers, with the continuous event serialized representation things and all other things that are available right now as a part of the Kerry package. So Kerry give us the security, the key management, and all other things that make the protocol secure. And the third one actually is the decentralized web nodes. So decentralized web nodes is the interesting thing. So they heavily overlap with the Gitcom. I still don't understand why the decentralized web nodes doesn't use the Gitcom and they reinvent their own transport and own messaging. It's quite sad. We're not building on top of each other. So these three should be combined somehow, or should be improved, that they will create the basics of the trust spanning protocol. And as I said, it's a layer 2. The layer 3 actually is the trust tasks, and trust tasks, it could be many of them. So they all the protocols, and for example the verifiable presentation or verifiable credential exchange is the trust task, payment protocols is the trust task, any kind of exchanges. So it's not the application, but it's still the protocol that's separate from application, that give you the possibility to implement some complex interactions and manage the relations between each other. So, and it's a quite small difference between the interface and protocol. We will talk about this later. And on top of this, yeah, for sure, there's the trust applications. So trust applications could use the protocol level 3 or protocol level 2 directly to achieve their goals. And trust level applications, actually they form something that called the endpoint systems. So the endpoint system could represent the application or the service, or for example the device that will combine all these layers together, yeah, and they separate in a trust over IP a couple of types of the system. So the endpoint system is have all these 4 layers together somehow combined to the self-contained system that talk with other endpoint systems to achieve some business goals. Yeah. So another type of systems is the intermediary systems. So intermediate systems is the same concept as Hyperledger agent have the relays and mediators. Yeah, that maybe you have your application on phone and it's have not enough capacity, so maybe you will use the relay that will use the transport layer 2 and the transport layer 3 things that help you to mediate with another endpoint systems. And supporting systems, it's for example implementation of the Git methods or any trust ensuring things that need to make our life easier and help us to implement some part of the layers. So you could read the paper yourself. I try to summarize all this concept in this short video. So I recommend you to read about the trust spanning. I recommend you to review the trust over IP and architecture review, so it's not so big document, but I see that we have big movement in the standards. Right now trust over IP joined the open wallet initiative, so I still positive about the self-sovereign identities. I expect that we will see more standards, more companies, more reference implementations. So the adoption is improving, I would say. So I quite keen to hear more from you, what you are doing in this space, and your thoughts about the new architecture. So I was happy to have a chat with you, and see you next time. Cheers.